Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast. I'm Stephen Vantassel, another episode of Living the Wildlife. So we're very glad that you've joined us. We don't have any sponsors for this particular episode, so if you're interested in being a sponsor for our segment, please get in touch with me at wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com, wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com. We're very glad that you're here joining us. Today, I have a special guest. His name is Bill Dowd, and he's the founder, president, and CEO, that's a lot of titles, for Skedaddle, Humane Wildlife Control, and he's established a franchise. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stephen. Great to be on with you.
All right. Well, I've just recently learned of your franchise. I forgot where I saw it. It might have been on LinkedIn, I believe. So tell us a little about how you got into wildlife control, and then get into the franchise that you're offering.
Sure. So kind of a long story. I started in wildlife control back in 1989. So we're over 30 years now in business. Prior to that, I was an aspiring hockey player. I was drafted by the New York Islanders in the early 80s when they were winning Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup. So played a few years in the minors and kind of bounced around. That was my first career. Decided to go back to school. I was going to become a physical education teacher. Finished my university, didn't get in teacher's college, so that was kind of the second career. And then got into the wildlife field back in the late 80s, early 90s. Very few companies were doing this. Mm-hmm. And I felt there was a real need in our corporate office, which is located in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, just outside of Toronto. And then from Hamilton, we expanded, into the Niagara Peninsula, into southwestern Ontario, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, all these areas. And every place we went, we were being successful. So it wasn't until the last 5-6 years where we thought, we've got systems in place, the marketing in place, call center, all the tools to offer people, especially now during COVID,
right,
an education.
Yeah.
Now we're franchising across the U.S. We have our first 2 franchises in the U.S. The first one was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he's recently purchased a second territory in Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow.
The second location is in Houston, Texas. So we're expanding rapidly and looking forward to a bigger footprint, not only in the U.S., but across Canada as well.
Interesting. So that was a question I was going to ask you, whether you were registered here in the United States as a franchise. So the answer obviously is yes. So tell me a little bit about how your company differentiates from Critter Control or Gates's company. I think his AA Wildlife Control, is it, out of Canada? I'm trying to remember what that company was. So explain that a little bit.
Well, first off, we don't trap. We're not trappers. We don't trap and relocate animals just because 70% of relocated animals die. So our main focus from day one has always been keeping family units together. So we're getting into the attic space or getting into chimneys or underneath decks or sheds, crawling around, physically picking up those babies, chasing the mother out, and then reuniting the mother and the babies on the outside, and then providing an animal proofing solution for the entire home and giving homeowners a lifetime guarantee. So we need to do it right the first time. Otherwise, we're coming back on our dime or nickel. And, we went through 1 year guarantee. They don't get back in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, very, very rarely do animals get back in on us. So we thought, you know what, we can offer now a lifetime guarantee. And I don't think any companies, whether it's in the wildlife field or, purchasing a new car, or anyone offers a lifetime guarantee. So
yeah, no, that's impressive.
We're a little different on that.
That's an impressive warranty. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's a lot of educating. We're always educating, whether it's through municipalities, humane societies, SPCAs, rehabbers, the media. We're always looking to educate the public that the animals aren't the problem. It's we're putting our garbage out to allow them to feed and multiply and just grow in this urban centers. and we're not animal proofing our homes. We're not putting chimney screens on or screening vents, and we're leaving our homes susceptible. So, as a homeowner, if you animal proof your home, you're not going to have a problem with animals, and, enjoy them. They're here to stay. Animals are not going and leaving our urban centers anytime soon.
Sure. No, absolutely. Well, we're going to be educating our audience here, so we want to be sure we're focusing. I want to make sure we're getting back to focusing not on the customer but on the wildlife control. The reason is because there's kind of a debate within our industry, at least down here in the U.S. Whereas there's some resistance to the one-way doors exclusion. A lot of wildlife control operators are full on board in terms of preventative maintenance on a structure, but typically being, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but here in the US, we never do anything in advance. We don't believe in preventative anything. We always wait till it's a crisis and then throw billions of dollars at it. That's kind of the American way of how we do things, and we credit card it, right? So in terms of fixing the problem after the fact, a lot of people are really getting into exclusion, doing the repairs. That's actually where the money in the industry is. The question comes in terms of the one-way doors. That's the challenge, where some of our industry people have had some real bad incidents where animals have broke back in, and that happened early in their experimentation with one-way doors, and they became never again. Are they going to do that? Maybe in 10 years they'll work on it, but so there's a tremendous resistance. So because your point was relocation, I think you actually meant translocation, because relocation is, we define it as moving an animal within its home range. Translocation, dumping the animal outside of its home range.
Right.
So there are states who allow that. You're absolutely correct. They allow translocation, and a lot of wildlife control operators like it because it's cheaper. They don't have to deal with the body. They don't have to deal with carcasses. They don't have to kill the animal. But for many people, however, a smaller segment, they would simply kill the animal and then prevent new entry into the structure. So explain a little bit how your methods work on preventing those breakouts from elsewhere, for example. So a raccoon isn't blowing through another vent or going through the roof, for instance, that some people have had challenges with.
Right. That starts with our first step when we go to a home. We have a 35 to 50 point property assessment where we're assessing up to 50 items on every single property and making the recommendations to that homeowner that they need to animal proof all of these items so that the animals don't break back in.
Okay.
And we don't relocate or translocate. We're just chasing that animal out. It's going to, run out the entry point. Typically they have anywhere from 7 to 10 den sites in the neighborhood. So it's going to have another neighborhood close by where it can survive.
For all species?
Everything we've come across, yes, whether it be raccoons, squirrels, skunks, birds, bats, mice.
Wow. Okay.
We know, and if we spend 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours on a job site and that animal breaks back in, well, that's on our dime and nickel to go out. So It's a lot of educating, that letting people know that there's so many. There's been studies by, we're all aware of some different studies where typically there can be anywhere from 35 to 50 raccoons in a square kilometer or square mile. So we're not going to get rid of these animals. And as a wildlife control operator, the most humane thing is to keep that animal in that neighborhood. That's where its home range is. That's where its food sources are. That's where its alternate den sites are. So we're really focusing on that and educating people that you're not going to get rid of them all. And, let's animal proof this house once and for all. You have our lifetime guarantee. If you have a problem again, that's on our nickel. And we have over 65 service trucks on the road. We're seeing 3 to 4 job sites a day. So my company is seeing over 200 houses a day. Right. So, our systems, our methodologies provide success.
So let's explore that a little bit more. Let me play a little devil's advocate here, because someone who is removing an animal, let's say a raccoon, from an attic, for instance, and then kills it. His argument would be that he's not looking to eliminate all the animals in the neighborhood. He's he's looking to eliminate the raccoon that's offended on the damage. So the idea, I think they would, a wildlife control operator might say, my goal here isn't to do massive population reduction. My job is to eliminate this particular animal so that I don't have to worry about it breaking back in. I'll do the repairs, but it's not a population reduction program. It's simply that the strike is here because there is some research done out by D. Nicola that I would suspect you're familiar with, when they did some research on raccoons and chimneys, and when they evicted them, where did they go? They went into another chimney.
Yes.
Sort of like bats. Sometimes we'll go to a different house, and that's the way it is. But that was in terms of they just simply occupied another structure nearby because that got kind of imprinted. How would you respond to that?
Well, in the early days, we used to every raccoon. I mean, we've changed how we do business 5 years. 5 years ago.
Everybody has.
Right. So I mean, we used to ear tag every raccoon we caught.
Wow.
I think we had over 300, 400 raccoons, and there was only 2 occasions where we ever caught the same raccoon again.
Right.
And exactly what you said. If it was, and we documented, okay, we caught this raccoon at such an address in a chimney, and when we caught it again and saw our ear tag on it, it was in a chimney as well. So
right.
You're of that mother raccoon or what have you, teaching or knowing that you're a raccoon dwelling raccoon, you're going to go into another raccoon. From the trapping and I've 30 years in business. I couldn't tell you if that's the same raccoon from yesterday or a different day.
Yeah.
Trapping, we view it that, you can trap a raccoon in the backyard. How do you know that's the one in the attic? Then homeowners say, well, why don't you put a trap on the roof? Well, why would I put a trap on the roof and attract 10 raccoons to your roof when there might be only one?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that there's, let me respond to that in terms of where we're at in the U.S., because I'm fascinated because the differences between the U.S. and Canada, to the extent that I'm aware of it, are quite stark. And so I want to explore that a little bit if we have time.
Yeah, no, because
in the U.S., the move is to what we call positive trapping. So there's 3 different types of sets. We have a baited set, and then we have a blind set, and then positive set. A positive set's where the trap's placed right over the hole. You're only catching what's positively coming out of that house. So as far as non-guilty animals, I mean, if we're going to criminalize this here a little bit, right? The guilty animal, you're only catching what comes out of that structure. Now, with a blind set, you could catch an animal coming into the structure. The blind
bait that's in that trap, is that not going to attract more raccoons to that property, though? So why would you do that?
Otherwise, they'd be trapping forever.
Right. That's why we believe trapping is not a viable solution.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there would be
the hands-on removal.
Yeah.
And as soon as we get it out, we animal proof it right then and there. Job done.
Yeah. So how does that deal with cost? How are we dealing with cost for a client?
Well, before we get into cost, I just want to talk about how we have seen 30 years in business, and our American franchises, in one in particular, is actually selling more than we are here in Canada, and that the American people are loving our methods compared to the traditional trappers.
Right. Okay.
It's a disruptor of the industry.
Oh, I think it will be. Yeah.
Every market we go into, when I get a franchise inquiry for Cincinnati or St. Louis, we'll do the research, and all of the competitors are typically trappers. Very few are saying we're going to do this hands-on removal that we do. So we disrupt the industry, and we've actually seen that in Milwaukee and in Houston, where trappers are saying, what are these guys at Skedaddle doing? That's different.
Mm-hmm.
How do I do it? So they're trying to kind of copy us, and eventually, because we've seen this when we go into other markets in Canada for 10, 15, 20 years, that the competition that was all trappers are now trying to do it our way, and doing the animal proofing is the solution, not the trapping and relocation or translocation as the viable, ethical, and humane solution.
Right. So in terms of the repairs, I think I think the U.S. wildlife control operators are all on board on that. It's the question of the cost involved in terms of having to harden an entire house to make sure that that raccoon isn't breaking in somewhere else. So that's where I'm wondering, and I'm intrigued in terms of, because you're going to right now to big markets. Those are pretty big markets when you're looking at Madison and Houston. Houston's a massive city, right? So you're not going to the second tier, third tier urban centers yet. So there's going to be some people in those cities that have cash and have some serious expendable money. I'm thinking about those more suburban areas where people are more, lower end white collar workers with some blue collar workers there. Are they going to be able to afford to make those repairs to do your service, as opposed to remove that particular animal, then fix the hole rather than hardening the entire structure? You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, we have found homeowners, and any of us, public, will spend more money for a service that they feel peace of mind and they're getting taken care of, and exceptional customer service. So that's been my focus since day one, is exceptional, outstanding customer service. And if you do what you say you're going to do, you show up on time, you provide a written quote, you're in company uniform, you have a nice website that explains what you do, and the marketing behind it, that people don't mind spending that extra money. And we're seeing that. Our franchises, our Milwaukee franchise, without saying exact numbers, but typically across all of we have over 30 franchises in Canada and the US. Our average price per job runs anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500.
Yeah.
And Milwaukee is on the more higher end. So people whether you're American, whether you're Canadian, whether you're in a large municipality or a smaller suburb, because in Canada we are in some smaller communities with 100,000 people, and people will, especially now during COVID, they are retreating to their castle, their home, protected. So in fact, our business has seen a 17% increase last month compared to the year prior.
Wow.
Our home, people are hearing noises, they're calling, and we're providing that professional expertise service, and people don't mind spending more if they know they got a company to take care of. We've all had those tradespeople come into our home, whether it be a plumber or electrician, who, it's always a race to the bottom to find the cheapest, especially.
Oh, right. No, absolutely. No, that's certainly a larger. So that's sort of a confirmation of what I thought in terms of the cost to a client. $1,500 to $2,500. That's definitely a top tier for many. So that certainly makes sense in terms of those types of prices. So let's talk about that warranty a little bit. And so is it warranted by species, or is it warranted for all wildlife? How does that work?
By species. So we're out there quoting a raccoon job. It's going to be a raccoon guarantee.
Okay.
Also pioneered over 20, 25 years now. We have been, we started, we used to never do mice. We were strictly wildlife. So we would go out to calls and, crawl around the attic and do our assessment, and it would be a problem with mice. We'd say, okay, call a pest control company.
Right.
And then I started, we figured out how to get bats out of homes and to bat-proof a house and give them a lifetime guarantee. So my director of technical training, I said, figure out how we can mouse-proof a house. So we can now mouse-proof most homes.
Right.
If they're in bad condition or, 250 years old, there might be where we're going to, walk away from those jobs or get our pest control division to go back and do a rodenticide program or a baiting program. So if we're at a mouse or a raccoon job and give a raccoon guarantee, we can't guarantee it for mice, because mice get opening size of a dime. So it is species specific. We're using different product and material based on the species to keep them out. But to be honest, very rarely, if we do a raccoon job, is a squirrel going to get in
right.
Attic for us. And if it does, we like to think we're an easy company to do business with. Nowadays, with the internet and bad reviews and word of mouth, social media, if a squirrel got back in, we're going to go out and just take care of it for the homeowner. Because we want that homeowner, next time they have people over for barbecue, they're going to say, hey, call Skedaddle. They take care of us. I got this lifetime guarantee.
Right.
So that's how we've grown our business, on great customer service and referrals.
All right. Well, I don't want to end without giving you an opportunity to sell your franchise here a little bit. So explain the process for that someone would go through to obtain one. What does one cost? What's required? How does someone go about it? How do they get in touch with
you? Yeah, right now we're looking. Just call me, reach out, and we can start the process. We have a franchise development gentleman. There's a 5-step process, because we don't want anyone who just says, I want to be part of franchise. It needs to be a win-win relationship. We want to like them. They want to like us. They want to follow our systems and procedures. We want to make them more profitable. We want them to scale their business like I have. Start with 1 truck, get to 5, get to 10, have that work-life balance. General rule of thumb, depending on the size of your territory, franchise fees right now are $25,000. And that gets all the training, support, the marketing, the internet. We get more web hits on our website from U.S. cities than we do Canada, just based on your population.
Well, that would make sense. We're a significantly larger population, so.
Exactly. But it really is amazing when we get our sheet. We see, from Salt Lake City, and the number of hits from there. It's like, wow. Yeah. And Toronto, which is a population of 3 million.
Right. No, Toronto's a big city. There's no doubt. Yeah. I have my father's Canadian, so.
Oh, really? Okay.
He was born in Halifax. So, yeah.
That was our first franchise, Halifax, Nova Scotia. And he's doing great. He is busy. He's booked out 30 days. I mean, he needs another 5 trucks on the road to keep up with the demand.
So, how are you getting labor?
Like everybody, that's the question.
That's the big question. All right.
Yeah, sure. we do a lot. We're hiring all the time. We like to say we hire attitude, and we'll train the skills. You come in, you want to get ahead in life, you want to work hard. We're going to treat you right. Follow our systems, and you'll be successful. We say the same to our potential franchisees that want to come in. We want to make it win-win. I want to pass my knowledge on to you. I want to teach you, mistakes that I made. Like, we've all been in business. We all make mistakes. Let's learning curve and let you get up to a enjoyable lifestyle where you're working on the business rather than in the business.
Yeah, I think that's a huge issue for our industry still. It's gotten a lot better. I mean, I'm old enough to remember people would be working 7 days a week, 365 days a week, literally.
Yeah.
And then they would trash their marriage, and their health would go, and then they looked at all. They still weren't making any real money. I mean, when it boiled down to it, it's kind of sad. That's changed. That's shifted. It still has a ways to go, but you're absolutely correct on that. It's
right. I think nowadays, people want that. They want to build something and leave to their family, or like I say to a lot of franchisees, if I had started Bill's Hamburgers back in the 1970s and tried to sell it now, I might get a good piece for it. But if I invested in a McDonald's franchise in the 1970s and wanted to sell it now, I'd be cashing out a lot more. So
yeah, without a doubt.
My business through franchising, so that I have my better exit plan, and that I can pass my knowledge and expertise and allow someone else to have that better exit plan as they go through this life journey.
Okay. Well, I think we'd love to do a follow-up, because we're limited here with our time with Zoom to about 30 minutes. And so I don't want to have it cut off on us right away. But I would like an opportunity to get back to you, particularly to discuss how Canadian wildlife laws are so much different than what we have here in the U.S. And wanted to explore that with you a little bit, and then probably do some follow-up. Maybe we'll get some feedback from our audience, from people that have some questions about the franchise, what the franchise life is all about. So thank you very much for participating with us here. Hey, everyone, just let me introduce him again, Bill Dowd, founder and president and CEO of Skedaddle Humane Wildlife Control. Love the name Skedaddle. That's really cute. You probably can get them right on the web. Skedaddle Humane Wildlife Control will be able to get a hold of you. Is that correct?
Yeah. Skedaddlefranchising.com would be our franchising website.
All right.
Skedaddlewildlifecontrol.com is our
good. Corporate. Say that again, because that came out fast.
Skedaddlewildlife.com is our customer-facing corporate site.
Okay.
Or franchising information, skedaddlefranchising.com.
All right. So skedaddlefranchising.com if you're interested in exploring franchise experience. And then, of course, you can always check out, it's good to check out the competition, folks, because this is coming. I've been talking about one-way doors for a long time and caught a lot of criticism from it from the industry. Well, guess what? They're coming. So you better prepare yourself emotionally, hopefully. And so we're glad to have you with us. So let me wrap it up here. Hey, everyone, Stephen Vantassel, wildlife control consultant. Another episode of wrapping up here of living the wildlife. Why do we live the wildlife? So that you don't become the wildlife, because we want you to live it, not be it. So thanks for listening. We'd love to hear some comments from the public that you have. Let me know, wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com. Let me know some topics that you have. If you want to be on the show, reach out to me. We're glad to schedule a meeting and see if we can get you on Pest Geek Podcast, Living the Wildlife episode. Bill, thank you very much for participating with us here, and let's have you back for a follow-up on Canadian wildlife laws. Let's make a plan.
I'd love to.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.